I'm putting this video together for anybody who's just curious what it's like to actually drive an electric car on a long road trip. This is just really simply what it's actually like to do something beyond regular day-to-day driving where you can charge at home. So kind of a road trip ride-along example. In our case, we actually own two vehicles. We have this Tesla Model 3 that we bought about 5 years ago, and we've got a 2019 RAV4 hybrid, and we love and use both. But I'll tell you right now, most of the time, it's the car that we drive because the costs to operate it are so much lower, and it's just more carbon efficient, to be honest. It's just convenient. Once you break free of the buying gas all the time, the sticker shock you get buying gas, even if for a hybrid, is quite jarring. And eventually, when it makes sense, this vehicle will be replaced. We'll never go back to a gas vehicle. We're definitely set up in our garage to charge our vehicle. And that day-to-day convenience is so much better than having to stop for gas or to change your daily routine to go fill up the tank. Waking up every day with a full tank is fantastic. In our case, using the existing charger the vehicle came with, and in this case, a 240 volt outlet. Anyways, enough of the propaganda. Let's show you what it's actually like to plan a trip and drive. And we'll take little video snippets along the way of stopping and charging. I'll show you how to plan the charge in the vehicle. It's brainless. You just push a button and hit go. It's really not scary like people think. And like I said, maybe my perspective helps. Have been doing this for 5 years, have gone lots of places, and it's less thinking than even driving a gas car, to be honest. One of the things that people don't realize is how widespread and available the supercharger network is, including how much it's grown in the 5 years I've owned the vehicle. It's stunning. We are planning to head up to Ottawa, essentially. And as we kind of scroll around, you can see these red dots are all supercharging sites. You still don't see these, and you won't see them as pervasive as gas stations for quite some time yet, because superchargers are placed where you need to extend your range. They're not used by people to typically charge day to day. Most people charge at home. Home is the gas station you use always. Everywhere else is where you use when you need to boost your range. We're going to actually be staying in downtown Ottawa, near the Rideau Centre, which is a mall, and it conveniently has a supercharger located right in its basement. So this is great. We're going to stop and pick up a few supplies, and it'll be our last stop. So I'll cheat and select it as my destination versus typing in my hotel address here. But we basically will pre-pick that, and the vehicle will communicate with Tesla, the supercharger network, and we're getting real-time status and details. You can notice the vehicle's planning software is hitting each of those with as low battery as possible. What we've found is we spend more time dealing with human fluid changes than essentially dealing with charging the vehicle's batteries. And the charging software can even let you choose different routes. I'm saying I want better amenities for food, and now it's proposing a complete different sequence of stops. Even while we're driving the vehicle, if these stations become more congested, the vehicle will change the plan and reroute for us automatically. And for each one of these supercharger stops, we can see the typical usage and peak rates, behaviors. We can see various nearby venues and stores. So compared to the example I showed you earlier, the day of, we charged as close to 100% as we could. There's bonus time. We were loading the car while we were waiting for it. But that meant one less stop. So that can make a huge difference using that last little bit when you do road trip. So here's our final selection for this morning. I've gone ahead and forced a stop in Kingston Supercharger. We actually like the food and options there. So that's beautifully timed for about 12:30 for a 25-minute stop. We'll eat while we charge, so there's no real hit. Weather and radar is built in, including weather forecasts. And the trip planning software takes into account wind, rain, temperature. I know what you're thinking. I have to go in the car every time I need to plan. Nope, you can do it right on your phone in the app. You can even change the amount of charge you might leave before you go, add stops. When you're happy with the route, you just tap that button and send it to the vehicle. So here we are underway. You can check your energy consumption rate. Is everything going to plan? Are there any power drains or or problems. So it's kind of seeing, are we following the plan and the model? So we're right on target, everything looks good. The vehicle accounts for wind direction, parasitic energy draws. Hey, go a bit slower, you'll get this much more or less. Everything's accounted for, including if there's unknown drains or influences that might require to modulate your plans. And you see the bottom of this screenshot, you'll notice we actually gained some range back from wind pushing the back of the car slightly. So we made it. Here's our first stop in Trenton. We've backed in. I just grabbed the cable with one hand, press the button, the flap opens, I plug in the car, and you walk away. Blue light means negotiating, green light means charging. You'll see right here, negotiate and charging started. Once that starts, pushes right to your phone. So the car's saying you only need to be here for 6 minutes, or if you stay longer, we'll be fully charged 80% in 50. And we've got a running tally of price. You even get lock screen notifications. It even shows up on my Apple Watch. I can just glance, time to go. We ended up needing more time to get our coffee at the local coffee shop than for to reach charge, so we overcharged, which is great. We actually have less stops next time. Notice our next stop in Kingston is only going to be 15 minutes, not 25. So the the speed of humans being slower stacks to your advantage and speeds up the rest of the trip. Just press the button, unplug, and drive away. And off we go to our next destination, which is Kingston, Ontario. You'll notice here supercharging is easier and faster than apparently me unfurling an umbrella. It's just one hand, grab the plug, push the button, stick it in, walk away. Our lunch over, we walked over and grabbed a coffee and a treat, but we had already achieved our required charge minutes earlier. So like I said, the people are still usually slower than the car. So we're on our final leg of our trip. We're driving through Ottawa, headed towards the Rideau Centre. By the way, all this footage was taken with a chest-mounted or hat-mounted camera. I was driving attentively, but using full self-driving, which is quite handy. So we're on our last little stretch. We're about to pull in. You'll notice there's this handy little visual cue up top, and it's saying, hey, don't forget, level P3 has the supercharger. They have nice little touches like this. They're always giving you little clues and tips. So you'll notice now we're approaching the mall and the parking lot. There's even handy signs throughout the parking garage, including entrance of where to go to get to that supercharger in that building. So all in, we drove around 562 kilometers. It was about 5 hours and 54 minutes. 30 or so was used to charge and get breaks. So if you haven't figured it out, what I'm really trying to demonstrate is the breaks that you would take for bathroom, for stretching, to be a good citizen and a well-rested driver. Those small stops that you take, they can be combined with the top-ups the vehicle needs. And so far, we've noticed that they don't conflict. They can be occurring together. And like I said, the people usually take longer than the machine most of the time. So the total cost, about $35. If I had charged at a hotel instead of the parking garage, I would have saved $15. And yeah, there was a parking fee to pay. A lot of times the hotels we stay at have car charging. It's complimentary or it's a small cost. Very handy. Your hotel becomes yet another gas station. You can fuel up when you arrive and fuel up before you go. And if you're day tripping from it, it becomes your new hub. It's your home away from home, your gas station away from your home gas station. It's a huge perk. So we're right back where we started. Back at home, safe and sound, showed up at night, plugged in the car, full tank of gas the next morning for errands. Fantastic. Couple of things to note. Most cars now have much bigger batteries. You wouldn't possibly even have to have stopped once on a trip like this. Remember, this car is 5 years old. When we bought this car, we chose the least expensive Tesla because it was about $20,000 less to go with the smaller battery. We figured 5 years or more, maybe 10, of supercharging would never equal $20,000. And I think that still stands true today. I did try and make a choice of a relatively future-proof vehicle, and considering it's the new dominant standard of plug connector in North America, it can drive itself, and various other improvements they've made to it over the years with software updates, I'm quite happy with that decision from a technical standpoint. These things are getting cheaper, the batteries are getting bigger, and even the little bit of stopping that you saw with this trip is greatly being diminished with every new vehicle you can buy from a number of manufacturers. And again, this is North American centric, of course. Buy a vehicle with that NACS connector. Then you can leverage any number of chargers, including the really great supercharging network. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say, to be honest. I think most people just assume things are far worse. But unfortunately, not everybody gets a chance to go on a trip or see it in person. And perhaps I've been able to share that experience here today with this little video production. Also, go easy on me. This is literally the first time I've actually produced anything like this or uploaded it to YouTube with a couple cameras. I'm still learning the ropes as I go. But hopefully I'll do some more, sharing many different life experiences and travel. And okay, I'm going to stop here.